journals, I've written things like this: God, there is a hole in my soul. Every day, there's this great big vacuum in my life. And I want to tell you, no matter how many great friends I have, they can't fill that hole. Only God can. It means direction. See, in relationship to everyday living, I talk to Christians all the time. I have particularly young people, and they go something like this: "Hey, Mike, I just don't know what to do. I mean, I really want my life to count for God. I really would like to, to live. But, man, this whole thing of understanding how to live every day for God, I don't get it." Well, here's the good news. You ready for this? God knows everything. And if God knows everything, then He knows the pitfalls. He knows the ways to make us happy. He knows the wisdom we need. Here's what we need to do. We need to listen. When He warns us, we need to listen. When He instructs us, we need to learn. When He comforts us, we need to accept it. We go to God. You know why? Because He knows everything. You know why some of us don't follow Him? We're just not quite sure He's got a handle on things. And the reason that's true is because in our little finite mind, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that a young person would die. It doesn't make sense that, that someone at a young age would have cancer. It doesn't make sense that this would happen. It just doesn't make sense. Here's another one. It means conviction. See, because God knows everything about us, that means that some of us who are living a masquerade, some of you who your life as a Christian, you're living one way, and you've got everybody fooled. You have everybody fooled. Nobody knows. And one of these days, we're going to stand before God, and guess what? It's going to be like somebody followed you around at snow camp and videoed your whole life, and it's going to be just right there for everybody to see. Now, I don't know if that's the way it's going to be when we're judged, but understand, God knows everything about us. And so we need to realize, see, here's something that we need to understand. Because of the fact that God knows everything, there's no sin that you and I are going to commit that He doesn't know that we're doing it. We think just because there's nobody with skin on around us, we're getting away with it. Conviction. We have security. We have comfort. We have direction, and we have conviction. So, how are you going to process in your life? Okay, this is it. We're done. I got three quick things. Here's three things you can do with what I just said. And you got to determine which one you want, all right? And you can determine it tonight. Number one, you can compartmentalize it. You can just simply suppress the truth. You can just say, all right, nah, I don't believe it. Nah. Mike, you understand? I'm hurting. I'm not going there. All right? And what you can do is you can just kind of suppress the truth and just say, I don't believe that God really is like that. I just don't think that He knows everything. I don't think that He feels, that I'm confused and so on. Here's the idea. We've created our own God. Ready for this? We've created our own God. And we try to put God in a box. Adam, I want you to get in this box for me. Okay? We're gonna put you in there. Oh wait, let me do the flaps, because we're gonna put you in there, and then we're gonna cover you completely up. I'm gonna completely have you in that box, and then we'll just put the flaps down. Okay? There you go. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I want completely in the box, okay? I just need you completely in the box. Okay. Okay, it is not going to work. All right, thank you. Thank you, Adam. Look up here, would you? If you and I try to bring God down to our level of our little finite minds and we try to put Him in a box, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can compartmentalize all day, suppress the truth. Just say, hey, look, you know what? I don't feel comforted. I'm still confused. I'm just going to keep living like I want to. You can try to put God in a box, but I got news for you. He's not going. Number 2, you can spiritualize. You can just spiritualize it. You can acknowledge the truth. Now, this one sounds good. You go, ooh, I think this is the one I want. Well, let me explain it a little bit. See, this one, you acknowledge the truth. This is the Christian cliches. You ready? You got terrible things going on in your life, and then you just kind of say things like, well, ain't God good? Well, He is. Or you say something like, well, all things work together for good. Now, by the way, most of the people who quoted those things to my wife and myself after my daughter died had never been through any hard times. God is good. Vance Havner, one of the great preachers of the past, right after his wife died, one of the preachers came up to him and said, I want you to know, Dr. Havner, just don't worry about it. All things work together for good, and God is good. And Dr. Havner looked at him and he said, yes, God is good. That's true, and it all will work out. But right now, I am dying on the inside. See, I think that's the reality of the Christian life. That's not spiritualizing. You see, what happens when you spiritualize is you accept it with your head, but not with your heart. When you spiritualize it, instead of, saying, well, okay, I'm going to search this out, I want you to know, I have spent a lot of time in this book just trying to wrestle through these things. But when you spiritualize, you don't wrestle through them. You just say, okay, yeah, I believe that. It's like I believe the theory of this or theory of that, and we just move on. You don't make any personal application. It's a generic thing that one size fits all. And I want to tell you, that's not the way my God works. It's personalized. My wife and I, God has given us a ministry to a lot of people that are hurting because of having children that were killed. And when I talk to them, one of the very first things we say to them is this: I don't know how you feel. You say, well, sure you do. No, because everybody has to process this differently. See, feelings are different. Our processes are different. Our education may be different. All those things. The only thing that is constant, are you ready for this? God. Number 3, you can internalize it. You can believe the truth. What we do here is it just means that we decide to trust God. You say, well, you know what? With this terrible thing happening in my life, how do I trust God? I was thinking about that. We trust so many things. We trust so many situations, that we don't even think about it. Almost every week of my life, not every week of my life, but almost every week of my life, I go down to the airport and I get on a plane and I fly somewhere. I usually don't get on the plane, say to the flight attendant, hey, I'd like to see the pilot, knock on the door and say, could you show me your credentials? I looked it up today. Three different articles that talked about pilots that were completely drunk. And praise the Lord, they got them off the plane before they took off. I don't do that. I just get on the plane, go in there, sit down, actually strap myself in. And I trust that dude. Or dudette. It could be a lady. Whatever. But here's the thing. And then I say to you, hey, listen, would you trust God who knows everything? And you go, I don't think I can do that. Well, if you really want to get a handle on this, here it is. You internalize it. You say, okay, God, here's what I'm going to do. There's a part B to the testimony that I gave a minute ago. Watch it here, would you?
It's been almost 7 years, and I have to admit, I still don't understand. I've prayed, I've read the Word. I spent a lot of time, obviously, considering this, but I don't understand. I don't know that I will until I get to heaven myself. But one of the journal entries that I made way back right after she died, I think expresses that. Let me just read it to you. I went for a walk that morning. I'd done some exercise. It was the first time since Misty had died. I meditated upon Psalm 34, where it said, I will bless the Lord at all times, and His praise shall continually be in my mouth. And then I wrote these words, Lord, all the time. Yes, all the time. Even this time. I bless you and I praise you for taking Misty home. My finite mind does not understand it, but I know that you are, and I believe that I have contemplated over these many years all of your attributes, and you are still all those things. I know that you are sovereign, you're holy, you're omniscient, you're omnipotent. I know that you're love. I know that you could have prevented this accident or incident, and I know that you, by your design, allowed Misty to be taken home. My whole world has fallen apart, but everything I know about God is still true.
So there you have it, omniscience. God knows everything. God's never learned anything. Now, what that does is, as I said in the session, it gives us incredible security to know that He's there in the middle of our pain. We're never alone. To know that He knows all about it. He understands the deep intricacies of it that no one else can get. But what I want you to do with this information now is I want you to talk about it. I want you to get into small groups or talk with a trusted leader or a friend, or contact us here at wherewasgod.wall.org. Let's don't end the dialogue now. Let's don't just walk away. It was another session. But let's continue to make application. Let's continue to grab a hold of this, bring it into our lives, and do something with it.